Hey everybody, welcome to episode 50 of the Return Policy, and today I'm doing a mini review on the HORI produced Nintendo licensed left controller complete with D-pad for your Nintendo Switch. So very early on during the Nintendo Switch's release, a lot of folks had issues on that, even though it had the awesome feature and gimmick to allow you to kind of pop out the left and right side of the controllers to make it instantaneous two-player gaming. It also kind of had to make a sacrifice to let go of the traditional D-pad that's normally on the left side of the controller in favor of kind of four face buttons in order to recreate, a player 1 and player 2 scenario. And so HORI, they definitely saw those cries for help, and they followed up with a kind of solution of their own to recreate the left controller Joy-Con and re-implement the D-pad onto the controller itself for use on your Nintendo Switch. And so HORI, a producer of really good fighting game controllers, fight sticks, and whatnot, I thought I would snag this at my local Target and do a mini review on this as best I could. Anyways, I just wanted to show off the packaging of the HORI D-pad controller. So here's a little bit from the front, sides, and the back. It already gives you some heads up that it's for a handheld mode only, as well as it's only for connected and will not work wirelessly. So here I wanted just to crack it open, show what's inside. Not too crazy, like I said before. Here's a slightly thick multilingual instruction manual, and inside the package you have just the controller itself. I gotta admit, I do like the darker red, kind of the Mario motif, kind of in line with my Ninja Turtles color scheming. But the first thing you'll notice as soon as you take it out of the package is how deceptively light it feels, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, because it is missing both the HD rumble as well as the top L and R buttons of the controller. On top of that, if you're used to playing with the Joy-Cons themselves, the minus button and the capture button on this left controller is also not very non-clicky. It kind of just sinks into the controller. It still registers the button press for sure, but it is a stark contrast to the kind of the click feedback that you get from pressing on the plus button or the home button on the right Joy-Con. And that's really what I wanted to talk about, was the limitations that the controller kind of sacrifices, or that it compromises in order to sell at a cheaper price, at least at $24.99. But also you lose some of the nicer kind of gimmicky features of the Joy-Con, including being able to play it wirelessly, having a first player and a second player, as well as the HD rumble itself is completely lost on this controller. The functionality of the D-pad works really, really well. There's no complaints on that end. It's just that if you want to make those kind of compromises to get a really good 2D kind of feel for using the D-pad, but the compromises is you're stuck to enjoying that on a handheld only mode. The other kind of personal gripe that I had with this controller, and this tiny little tab here, this tiny little bump that they add for the Joy-Con release, completely negates all of the other thumb grips. It completely negates all of the other grip cases that I've bought, reviewed, enjoyed, and continue to enjoy all this time. And so for me personally, if I wanted to continue using the HORI D-pad controller, I'd have to give up my favorite grip cases. And that is definitely not a compromise that I wanted to make for a single left controller. So all in all, I really think the HORI D-pad left controller is a solidly and very nicely quality made product. And even though it left out two huge omissions that I believe is pretty critical to the experience itself, one being its wireless capabilities and the other being the even the HD rumble to add a little bit of weight to the controllers themselves, if not just for the rumble functionality. I think those two factors really played a big difference for me on how I wanted to enjoy playing with the Nintendo Switch, whether it be portable and even in a docked mode, so if I'm sitting on the couch or whatnot. And of course I didn't want to let them go for this, which is this kind of small sticking out part, which completely negated a lot of the grip cases and the kind of controller peripherals that I use. Even from various past reviews, because it has that extra little bump there. A lot of my grip cases and my grip cases primarily did not fit, and so I had to basically use the Nintendo Switch as is without any grip cases. So that was a huge bummer. So all in all, those two omissions plus the kind of a hefty price tag of $24.99 is quite a bit of an ask, even though the normal Nintendo price Joy-Cons are about $40 or $40 US. I still think asking for $24.99 is still pretty steep. Although I did pick up the red Super Mario themed controller. It looks pretty cool, I think. But to be honest, yeah, I have to say that the HORI left controller with the D-pad for your Nintendo Switch is a return it. Anyways, that's it for me. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this little mini review of mine. If you thought any of this was informative or helped in your purchasing options for Joy-Con replacements, go ahead and hit that like button. If you thought this was boring and you prefer to play docked with just a Pro controller no matter what, go ahead and hit that dislike button. That's cool too. Other than that, I still plan on making as many of these mini reviews as I can, so if you want to stick with me for that semi-long run, please feel free to go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well too. Other than that, I just want to wish everybody the happiest of remaining holidays and a great new year. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Bye.